Here's a crossover question that you get in a non-calculator paper, so that's either at the very beginning of a higher paper or at the end of a foundation paper. This particular question is all about probability. There's actually two parts to this question. This is the first part of the two sections. Both sections are worth 2 marks. The question reads as follows. There are white, black and blue blocks in a bag. The probability of taking a white block is 0.4. The number of black blocks is the same as the number of blue blocks. What is the probability of taking a blue block? So essentially what this part of the question is asking is what are the missing probabilities? We know the probability of the white block. We need to find out then what the probabilities of the black and the blue block are in order to answer the question. Key bit of information here is the probability of taking a white block is 0.4. We should know, or a bit of knowledge that we need to know, is that mutually exclusive events add up to 1. If events cannot happen at the same time, they add up to 1. Picking the white is 0.4, therefore picking anything other than the white is going to add up to what's left to make 1. So we can do that. 1 take away 0.4 equals 0.6. So we know then that the probability of taking a blue or black, not white, is going to be 0.6 because those events that are mutually exclusive will add up to 1. And that actually is the first mark for this particular question. Any suitable method to find the missing probabilities is fine. That's a great start. There's a mark there. The next part then, we need to know what a blue block is, the probability of taking a blue block. But to help us, it said that the number of black blocks is the same as the number of blue blocks. Therefore, if this whole thing is fair, it should be the same probability taking one or the other. All we have to do then is divide 0.6 by 2. Separating it out into the blue and the black blocks, and that gives us an answer of 0.3. So what should be the case then is it's 0.4 probability of taking a white block, 0.3 of taking a blue, and a 0.3 of taking a black, and that does actually add up to 1, so that works perfectly fine. 0.3 there, that's our second mark for getting the correct answer. So here's the second part of the question. We've worked out now that the probability of picking a white block is 0.4, picking a black 0.3 and a blue 0.3. The question is there are 12 white blocks in the bag, so how many blocks are there in total? Now this looks to me more like a ratio question now than it does a probability question. We have the ratio of white to black to blue blocks, which is 0.4 to 0.3 to 0.3. I'm going to make it easier for myself by just multiplying everything by 10 there. So for every 4 white I have 3 black, I have 3 blue. Anytime I come up against a ratio question, I'm going to use a blob method, if you like, where I draw out the blobs. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 blobs there, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This just helps me to remember that I'm separating whatever it is I've got into that many parts. 12 white blocks in the bag. My white here, this is my 4 if you like, so that there is a total of 12. So that means each of these blobs must be a quarter of 12. A blob then must be worth 3 blocks. And I can see then if I've got 3 lots of 3 here, this whole section must be worth 9. Again, this whole section must be worth 9 because each blob is worth 3 blocks. So I've got 12 here, 9 here, 9 here. I can add those all together. 12 add 9 add 9. That gives me a total of, we'll do the 9 add 9 first, get 18, add the 12, total of 30. In this situation where you're getting 2 marks for this part of the question, the first mark is going to be for any complete process where you are trying to get the answer. So if you were to work through this process, you get a mark for doing that. If you were to work out that 12 was 0.4, and so then you divided it by 0.4, then multiplied by 0.3, for example, to find out how many black blocks there were. Again, that would be a perfectly acceptable method if you followed that through to the end. Whatever you did, as long as you're doing it to get the right answer, you get your method mark there. And then your final mark, your fourth mark for this whole thing, is to get the right answer, which in this case is 30. There are 30 blocks in the bag.